compared to West Africa or to other countries in Africa. They're moving there for the infrastructure.
I don't want to leave this country, guys.
They're moving to areas like Kilimani, Westlands, Lavington, Kilelesho. I've been to these areas, guys. Very nice areas. I've been to some of these buildings, and I've been at some of these high floors, guys, and I'm like really shocked. You guys in Kilimani? To how Kenya look, guys. It's like America without the baggage. Yeah, there's a lot of apartments. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Drew Liams. And if you know anything about me, you'd have known that I've spent 3 months in Nairobi, Kenya. Now guys, why are Americans leaving America for Kenya? I mean, America has everything you could ever need if you're an entrepreneur. America is a country that you could be what you want to be if you really desire. But I think people are leaving America for Kenya because Kenya feels like America without the baggage. Because, you know, as a black person in America, it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what you accomplish. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are. You're still black in America. And that's a problem for some people. You know what I'm saying? Now, guys, I personally live in America and I like the country. It's a beautiful country with beautiful landscape, mountains, hills, valleys, rivers. I could go on all day, guys. America has a landscape for everything. America has every kind of industry you can think about. But can you imagine that, guys? Can you imagine living in a place where you have everything to make you successful, but yet still you don't want to live there because on paper, it's the perfect place to live. But in reality, it's totally different. That's what America is. You know, America was built for, you know, Europeans. It wasn't built for the black man to succeed. I think most Americans are moving to Nairobi, Kenya, or Kenya in general, because of the infrastructure. Can I say that's the main part of it? I can say that. And I think they're moving there for the freedom as well, you know. But first thing, the infrastructure. Right? I think that's number one or number two. Okay, but let's say that's number one. People are moving there for the infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure, I mean compared to West Africa or to other countries in Africa. They're moving there for the infrastructure. Nairobi have very nice apartments, very reasonable apartments, especially if people are retired and they have like that money coming in. They're moving to areas like Kilimani, Westlands, Lavington, Kilelesho. I've been to these areas, guys. You know what I mean? Very nice areas, very well built up. I've been to some of these buildings and I've been at some of these high floors, guys, and I'm like really shocked to how Kenya look, guys. It's like America without the baggage. You know, and buying apartments, you know, for people in America, that would be a very reasonable price. I think for the average Kenyan who is not really working a lot of money, of course, it's going to be expensive. Just like in Jamaica, things are expensive. Just like in any country, it's expensive. But from your middle class, you know, or you're from somebody abroad who, you know, like living in America or Britain or Canada, you can afford it. So I think they're moving to Kenya for the infrastructure. You know, you have good transportation system. But yeah, the apartments are very good, whether buying or renting. Number two reason why I think Americans are moving to Nairobi, Kenya, Kenya in general. I think people are moving to Kenya because Kenya is like the America without the baggage. When I say baggage, I mean without discrimination. America is a country, as a black person, you could find yourself in any kind of situation just because of the color of your skin. And it could happen, you know, dealing with black people as well, dealing with white people, dealing with Asians, you know, deal with anybody. As long as you're black in America, there's going to be an issue with you, especially with the system in general. Black Americans have been going through a lot since slavery until this day. They're calling the police on you because you're black. People, just being harassed, thrown into prison for the simplest thing, being sent to jail or prison for a longer time than a white man would be sent to prison for the same thing. Probably wouldn't be sent to prison for the same thing or be given a less sentence, while you get the full hand of the law just for being black. Make an example out of you, or, they just send you to prison because, the new slavery. I say number three would be transportation. When you want to take a bus or an Uber, you have good transportation. You have the Bolt, you have the Boda. You're spoiled for choices when it comes to transportation. So I think as a foreigner, you move into that country, you're like, okay, how am I going to get around? There's transportation, man. If you don't want to take the local bus, you can take a Uber or a Bolt, or a Boda or a local taxi. The next thing I think Americans are moving to Kenya for is, I'll just put this in general for infrastructure. You have good electricity supply, and there's always water in the pipes in my experience. Guys, most of what I'm speaking about is my experience. I wouldn't recommend drinking the water from the tap. I don't know how bad it is, but I was advised not to drink it. So there's always water in Nairobi, and there's electricity. Of course, sometimes you have power outages, but you have good electricity in Nairobi. Number 4 reason why I think Americans are moving to Nairobi, Kenya, or Kenya in general, is for the social life. People in America doesn't really speak to each other. For example, I used to live in Stamford, Connecticut, and I remember walking to the beach one time, and people would say hello to me, and I would be shocked, guys, because that's what I do to people in Jamaica. But I guess it's because, it's the country area, and there's not, it's not really busy and too many people moving by, and just to say hello to a random stranger in a crowd of 10,000 would be kind of weird. So I can understand that. You still have to look at it. There's not really a good social life in America anymore. People don't really want to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? It's still better than Norway. You know what I'm saying? So I think people are moving to Kenya for the social life. And people are very, very friendly in Kenya. They're very welcoming. You could meet new friends. People, you could, walk down the street and have a conversation with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is very, very hard in America. You know what I'm saying? Very hard in America. In America, you always have to look over your shoulder. You don't want to talk to people because they think you're weird. Number 5, reason why I think people move to Nairobi, Kenya, is because, cost of living is pretty reasonable. I'm not going to say it's dead cheap. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be cheap comparing to America. Fresh fruits, everything in general. The price is going to be a little bit cheaper than America, or much cheaper than America. But don't get me wrong, if you don't have a steady income, it will add up. But I think for the American who are retired and have that income coming in, or the American who is moving to Kenya and they have residual income, or the digital nomads or something, and they have regular income, it would be a very good life for you. I wouldn't really recommend moving to Nairobi, Kenya if you don't have a steady income. Things can look cheap, but it can really add up after a while. I think those are my 5 reasons why people are moving, why Americans are moving to Nairobi, Kenya. So guys, if you have anything or any reason why you think Americans are moving to Nairobi, Kenya, you can share them with me. Or if you have moved there yourself, I would love to know your experience. My viewers and my subscribers would love to know. Anyway, guys, this was a short video. I'm out for now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if this video resonates with you. Stay blessed. Boop.